Bingo is definitely at the heart of every fan of the show. The youngest healer has had just as amazing a development as her older sister. Do you have any idea how incredible Bluey's little sister's evolution has been? Even though she's a major character and is present in almost every episode, Bingo didn't have the pleasure of appearing in Bluey's first pilot. The little blue pup and Bandit made their debut in the 2016 pilot, which was only shown at special events. However, Bingo and Chili were nowhere to be seen. Funny enough, even Rusty and Mackenzie made cameo appearances in this early version, unlike the character who would later become the show's second main lead. In this version, the character designs were quite different from what we see in the final series. One interesting detail is that Bluey in this episode was much smaller than in the final version, looking about the same age as Bingo we know today. That means her little sister in this version would likely be even younger. Or was Bingo not even created yet? That would explain a lot, but there are promotional artworks that suggest she was already part of the concept. Additionally, fans of the series have found an email from someone who worked on the pilot where they mentioned Bingo. However, an interesting detail is that they referred to the youngest healer as a boy. To this day, we don't know if this was just a typo or if Bingo was initially planned to be a male character. Many fans speculate that if this was true, the idea was likely scrapped to avoid making the healer family even more similar to their main inspiration, Peppa Pig's family. Bluey's little sister made her debut in the second version of the pilot episode. This version was also never officially released, but its script was reworked into a first season episode, The Weekend. The character designs in this version were already much closer to the final product, though there were still some differences. In Bingo's case, her snout was much longer in this pilot. But this is just the beginning of Bingo's journey, full of fun and learning. So get ready, it's time for another Cinewave. One of the hardest experiences Bingo ever went through was getting sick, which forced her to stay in the hospital for a while. This made her really sad because she wanted to see Bluey and her friends again. If you're as obsessed with Bluey as we are, you probably already know that this moment brought an important lesson for the little pup. While she was in the hospital, her older sister, along with her other relatives and friends, made a short film about a girl trying to find a cure for her sick dog. But by the end, she realized that everyone gets sick at some point in their lives, and it's just something that passes with time. This helped the youngest healer accept her situation and not feel rushed to go home, especially since she could rewatch the video as many times as she wanted to ease the sadness of missing her friends. This was the first time Bingo was shown getting sick and going to the hospital, at least on screen, and it's something she will always remember. Another event that changed Bingo's life forever was the day she met her classmate Leela, who soon became her best friend of all time. And we mean all time, but we'll explain why later. Leela was always very shy, so she had a hard time talking to other kids and making friends. But Bingo, being a much more outgoing little girl, walked into class pretending to be a toy and immediately pulled Leela into her game the moment she saw her. This shows that just like Bluey, Bingo is incredibly charming and sees everyone in the same light. After that, she appeared alongside Leela in many other episodes, like Pass the Parcel, where they both attended several classmates' birthday parties. This shows that by deciding to interact with Leela, Bingo helped to learn how to socialize and play with other kids. Now tell us, would you like to be friends with Bingo, Leela, or any other Bluey character? If so, comment #friend.
Bingo is my friend now.
Since she was a baby, Bingo has always had her beloved stuffed bunny Floppy by her side. She's super attached to it, and in Sleepytime, we see her take the next step in her journey of growing up. When she goes to bed, she says she wants to sleep like a big girl and wake up in her own bed, which means she's becoming more aware of her own growth. Still, Bingo continues to sleep with her favorite plushie. As she falls asleep, Bingo has an incredible dream that reflects how her mind is processing everything. In the dream, she emerges from the earth like she's hatching from an egg, then goes on an amazing cosmic adventure with her stuffed bunny, until she has to let Floppy go with others of its kind. This moment symbolizes that she really is growing up. But one of the most beautiful lessons she learns in this moment comes from something her mom told her before bed. Remember, I'll always be nearby, even if you can't see me, because I love you. That's when Bingo realizes that growing up is important, but she can take her time and doesn't have to lose the connection with her family. Bingo is still little. She started the show as a 4-year-old, but in Bluey, time actually moves forward. Several episodes reference past events, which is why we eventually get to see Bingo celebrating her birthday in season 2 when she turns 5. And the 2 episodes about her birthday really show how much she has matured throughout the series. In Duck Cake, Bandit and Bluey try to make a birthday cake for Bingo, but even after all their hard work, the cake turns out pretty messy. Despite that, Bingo is super happy when she sees it instead of complaining. Her naturally cheerful personality plays a big role here, but it's also clear that everything she has learned throughout the show has influenced her reaction. In the next episode, Handstand, Bingo's birthday party starts and she keeps trying to do a handstand in the middle of the party. Unfortunately, no one notices because the adults are busy organizing things and the other kids are caught up in their own games. But then, Grandma shows up and gives Bingo her full attention. Bingo is so happy that someone is watching her handstands, even if the rest of the party isn't. In fact, when everyone gathers to sing happy birthday to her, she's too busy doing handstands for her grandma to even notice. This is yet another example of how Bluey shows us that Bingo values small, meaningful moments over big, supposedly unforgettable events.
I saw you, Bingo!
Throughout the show, Bluey drops little hints about what the future holds for its beloved characters, and Bingo is no exception. In the same episode where Leela is introduced, we see several photos from the future that shows Bingo and Leela growing up together as best friends. Each picture represents a different phase in Bingo's life. The second picture shows them a little older, studying at the same school Bluey currently attends. Could their teacher be Calypso? In the third picture, they're teenagers winning an award at what looks like a science fair. If you look closely, you'll notice that Bingo has developed a yellow patch on her belly, just like her dad. It's a bit harder to notice since she doesn't have blue fur for contrast, but it's definitely there. The final picture is the biggest jump forward. It shows Bingo and Leela at their graduation. Wow, their friendship is truly lifelong. Here we can see Bingo starting to resemble her parents more. The yellow spot on her belly is more noticeable, and her fur has developed a mix of lighter and darker patches. Some of the fur on her face has even lightened a bit. It's amazing how the Bluey artists didn't just make the characters bigger, they carefully added small details to show their natural aging process. And one change that was probably Bingo's own choice? She lets her hair, or should we say fur, grow a little longer. Not as long as Leela's, but still a noticeable change. Speaking of changes, how about clicking that subscribe button? That way, you'll always get our daily Bluey videos and other awesome cartoons.
Brilliant!
This isn't the only episode that gives us a glimpse of Bingo's future, and thank goodness for that. We also get another little hint about the youngest healer's destiny in Surprise, which includes a scene of an adult Bluey visiting her now older parents. In a photo hanging in the healer house, which by the way is still the same as always, you can see that our beloved Bingo, now grown up and graduated, has traveled all the way to Easter Island in Chile. That's pretty far from Australia, huh? We don't know if this was just a one-time trip or if she's developed a habit of traveling, but considering her dad is an archaeologist, it's totally possible that Bingo decided to follow in his footsteps. The difference is that, unlike Bandit, she might prefer to travel and study her discoveries up close rather than doing most of her research on a computer. The real question is, are she and Leela such good friends that they even travel together? Now, let's talk about something that might happen in Bingo's future, her having kids. Even though she's still super young, she's already expressed a desire to have children, specifically 4 babies. Of course, she's way too young to make a decision that big, but unless she changes her mind when she grows up, we'll probably get to see her kids in a future storyline. That is, unless she discovers that she has fertility issues like Aunt Brandy and her mom did in the past. Then again, both of them were able to overcome those struggles, so it's hard to imagine someone as determined as Bingo giving up that easily. And some people even think we've already seen one of her kids. Yep, part of the Bluey fandom believes in the theory that the little purple pup who appears at the end of Surprise is actually Bingo's child rather than Bluey's. If you're curious, let us know in the comments if you'd like a video about this theory. If enough people ask, we'll definitely make one. The video is coming to an end, but we've got 2 more amazing ones on your screen, so the fun never stops. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.